everyone, Tony Tonkin here from Wise, Witty and Weird. And as you could see by my title today, I'm exploring the notion that Scott Morrison is a traitor to our country. And I say this because Morrison, over the last 3 or 4 years, has been very supportive of our friend, so-called friend, Donald Trump. In doing so, he has been awarded a medal from the United States, and that he has been what I would consider a sycophant to a man who doesn't deserve recognition in any shape or form. It seems to me sad that Morrison couldn't have the courage or guts to call out this man who is clearly psychopathic, narcissistic, and a danger to the community, not just to the United States, but to the world. And that when we choose not to support, when we choose to support a person who has the character of Donald Trump, then we are a traitor to our own country. Because what it means is that Morrison was not able to stand up against the tyrant. You know, if Morrison had chosen to support Vladimir Putin, for example, or Xi, we would have a completely different story, wouldn't we? We'd all be objecting to the fact that this man was supporting the tyrants of those two countries, or any other country that is autocratically ruled. If he started to support the Ayatollah Khomeini or whoever in Iran, then we would be objecting greatly to that level of support. But we have him supporting the same type of person, but in what is declared to be a democratic society. The result of supporting such a man is catastrophic. It isn't, there have been lots of countries who have come out and been appalled at Donald Trump's behaviour, including Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, who sits right next door to the United States. He's fallen out with Trump because of some of the things that Trudeau has said about Donald Trump. But our Prime Minister chose to do nothing, chose to say nothing. And he has Hockey in as the ambassador to the United States, who's also a sycophant of Donald Trump. When we support a tyrant, we are a traitor to our own country. When we support someone who behaves in the way that Donald Trump behaved, we are saying that we do not care about what they say or do. Now, I appreciate that on one hand, we need to show some signs of conciliation with a country with whom we have a history in terms of supporting us, whether it be through the Anzac Pact or whether it be through any other treaties that we may have with the US. But no matter what our history is, no matter what our relationship is with that country, we should be able to make decisions about how we behave in regard to the leader of that country. And if that leader steps over the line, does things that we believe are inappropriate, calls people from other countries horrible names, criticises those that criticise him in ways which are also denigrating, humiliating, and completely inappropriate for a leader of any country, then we need to make a stand. We need to be able to say to that person, that behaviour is inappropriate. We still need your help. We might need your support. But at the end of the day, we don't want the support from somebody who behaves in the way that Donald Trump has behaved over the last 4 or 5 years. As Australians, we need to say enough is enough. And we also need to be able to say, as Scott Morrison should be able to say, your behaviour has endangered the lives not only in those of people that live in your community, in your country, but the decisions that you are likely to make could also impact us here. For example, if he chose to take arms to Korea, North Korea, or Iran, or even combated in some form China, we would be in the situation of having to confront those combative behaviours in ways which would put us at risk. And there's always that possibility. Even in the next 10 days, there's still those possibilities that this man might make some decisions which are going to place us in an unenviable position. So we need to be able to understand that Scott Morrison siding with this man, receiving an award from him, places him, in my view, as a traitor to our country. And we all should be horrified at the way by which Morrison has sucked up to this guy. And so I'm suggesting that we all start talking about Morrison's relationship with Trump in traitorous terms. Because at the end of the day, it tells us a lot about who Scott Morrison is. If Scott Morrison believes that there is some obscure reward from behaving in the way that he has, then he's making it all about politics and not about the man. You know, there are many things that I could say about Scott Morrison, but the thing that worries me the most is that he puts on a facade that he is a principled individual, that he has Christian values. And if he really had those Christian values, would he treat and would he say the things about Donald Trump that he's said in the past? Would he ignore those terrible behaviours which divide and separate people, that call people terrible names? Is this the sort of religious fervour that we would expect from Scott Morrison? Is this the way that we as Australians see others? No, it isn't. It's a poor reflection on who we are, the way Morrison has behaved towards Trump. And it needs to come to an end. We need to say, Morrison, you have behaved in a traitorous way, and that you probably need to reevaluate your relationship with the United States. I mean, I can understand that with Biden coming in, that relationship should not be harmed in any way. I can't imagine Biden would ever say anything that remotely resembled what Trump has been able to say and do. But we still need to have someone that we can rely on in Parliament, our leader, who is going to stand up for us against language which is divisive. It's going to get worse in the United States. It's going to get much worse. And as I've said in previous videos, my concern is that the violence will increase. And there's lots of chatter apparently on the internet about the degree to which that chatter is focused on violence. And on the 19th, I believe, of this month, there will be another rally. And there will be violence and people will die. Oddly enough, I predicted this on the 6th. And it's not that, I'm Nostradamus, and it's not that I necessarily have access to information that no one else has, but a desperate man pushed into a corner is going to make some desperate decisions, and he's going to encourage his base, whom he loves, to behave in ways which are going to be horrific. And I guess right at this particular point, we need our leaders to stand up and say how appalled we are at the behaviour of Donald Trump. And we shouldn't only condemn him for the current behaviours that happened on the 6th, but we should condemn him for all his past behaviours. So we should form a list of all the things that Trump has done that have been abusive and separated and divided a nation. We should also make sure that that list is delivered to Trump, so that he knows that he's on his own, that there are countries like Australia who do not support what happened in the US over the last 4 years. That we need to make a moral stand, an ethical stand, an apolitical stand, if you like, against this horrific individual. Because there will come a time when the type of political agitation that we've seen from Trump seeps into the Australian psyche. I don't think, and I hope, that in Australia we don't have the same, we certainly wouldn't have the same numbers, obviously, but we wouldn't have the same percentage of people who feel so aggrieved as do many people in the US. And it isn't that we needn't take note of who those people are, and we should not ignore them either, far from it. We should embrace what some of the things that they have to say and why they're aggrieved, and then do something about it. But there's a group of people who wish to see violence perpetrated. In the United States, of course, you've got a stack of people who carry guns and who believe that they have the right to not only carry guns, but also to enforce their version of free speech, which at the end of the day means that they will become violent, aggressive, and people will die. But there probably are people in Australia who kind of sympathise with what happens in the US, and wish that they could carry guns in the same way, and that wish that they could be as violent as they have been in the US in order to overturn our government. And we need to identify who those people are. But it's really difficult, I think, to make a stand against all of that if you've been complicit and agreeable almost, that you haven't stood up against whatever it is that Trump has stood for over the last 4 years. So we definitely need to make a stand, because Morrison hasn't been able to do that, because he's reluctant to do that, because basically he's a coward. He then is a traitor to his own country, to us, to Australia. And we should make sure that we let him know that his past behaviours, his acceptance of Trump, has put us at risk, because in our own country we haven't been able to, that we've allowed, I think, the Trumpism to simmer, and allowed the right, the extreme right in politics, to sit back, acknowledge, accept, see as valuable what has happened in the US. So we need to find ways to meet that problem, and accepting Trump's behaviour and not making any comment about it is unhelpful in the extreme. So Morrison is a traitor to our country because he hasn't had the courage to stand up against Trump. Thanks for watching. And please, everybody, if you're watching this, please remember to subscribe and to ring the bell so you can receive future notifications. So thanks everybody for being with me. Take care, look after yourself, and be safe.